Hello and welcome. It's Catherine Ewing from Emotional Freedom at Last. And today we're going to do some tapping on one of the biggest issues and concerns, beliefs, call it what you will, that I hear all the time from my clients, mostly women. And that is this belief that I am not enough or I am not good enough. It seems to run rampant where women are concerned. And we all have our own particular version of that, whether it's I'm not thin enough, pretty enough, smart enough, nice enough, talented enough, creative enough, curvy enough, whatever it happens to be. We all have our own particular version. So again, the tapping script, I'm just going to make it up as I go along, and it may or may not be very specific to your primary not enough beliefs, but will be in the ballpark, and you're welcome to tap along with me. If I sort of go on a little tangent, if you will, into an area that really doesn't resonate with you, please feel free to put the video on pause and use some of your own words and your own languaging. I know when I work with clients in particular, one of their concerns is, I never know what to say. You always seem to know what to say. And the truth is, if I'm working with someone one-on-one, I'm asking them first sort of what's up with them and taking notes and writing down everything they're telling me, physically, mentally, and emotionally, and then I just weave back what they have said to me in the tapping script. And I've been doing it long enough now where it's pretty easy for me to hold most of the information in my mind and just pull it up as I'm moving along, or I take copious notes. And if I get stuck or if I'm not sure what direction to go in, I can just glance at my notes and, it sort of gets me on a roll again. So when you're doing EFT on your own, I would suggest whatever it is that you are working on, that you sit for a few minutes before you actually start tapping and make your own notes. Whatever your issue is around loss or anxiety or extra weight that you're carrying, or a belief or a behavior that you want to make some changes in, or perhaps a memory that you want to heal and clear from your system. Take a few minutes before you actually start tapping and just get quiet and hold that thing, whatever it is, that what appears to be true for you in this moment. And as you sit with it, just do a little inventory with yourself. So this idea of not good enough or not enough, when you sit with that, what do you notice in your body? Some of the things that I notice and that clients have said to me is that they might feel a lump in their throat, almost like they're going to cry or they're holding back tears. Perhaps they feel some kind of energy in their upper chest or around their heart, a swirling or a pressure, like a vice being squeezed, something uncomfortable in the heart area where they feel like they can't take a breath or they can't expand. Some people report feeling discomfort or distress in their digestive system. Again, a churning or a gripping or a twisting, or a feeling like they might have to run to the bathroom. There might be a buzzing in your head, or a tightness in your jaw or a pain in your back. So just notice what's going on physically. Sometimes those are the easiest things to connect to first. After you've jotted down some of the things that you notice going on with you physically, you can assign them a number, as we sometimes do in EFT, on a scale of 1 to 10 about how intense it is. And then this gives you something to go back to after you've done a couple of rounds and check in, and you can sort of look at that intensity level, if you will, and see if that's changed at all. And that's really helpful information. You can also do the same thing with your thoughts, what I call the mental constructs, your mental body. What thoughts are you having when you sit with this thing, whether it's a memory or a belief or a trauma or a pain? When you're sitting with it, what other thoughts come to your mind? I've had this forever. I don't know how to get rid of it. It's so frustrating. It makes me, kind of crazy. It's always on my mind. I've tried so many things. I don't know what to do. I'm such a loser. Why can't I get over this? Why do I keep beating myself up about this? Whatever thoughts. I'm afraid of being judged. I'm afraid of looking stupid. I'm afraid of being criticized. What if I fail, right? All of those mental constructs that go along with so much of what we're trying to clear from our energy system. And again, notice what thoughts you're having and apply that same scale. On a scale of 1 to 10, how strong is this thought? How much do you really believe it? How intense is it for you? And then as you tap, check in and see how that might be coming down. And then the third piece that we always take a look at are the other emotions that are related or connected to this issue that we're tapping on. So whatever it is that you're tapping on, it could be an emotion, but there are generally, several other emotions tied in to whatever that might be. So are you noticing? And sometimes once you start to tap, it'll even come up more. So when you have this belief about yourself or this thought that I'm not good enough, how does that make you feel? Are you sad? Are you angry? Are you confused? Do you feel lonely? Do you feel hurt? Do you feel stupid? Alone? Again, there's a whole array of feelings that go along with that belief or that experience that I'm not good enough. So again, just notice which ones are there for you, and you might assign them a number on a scale of 1 to 10. And then after a few rounds of tapping, we'll come back and see if those numbers have shifted or changed. So remember, the 3 aspects that I always recommend you take a look at when you're doing EFT is what's going on in your physical body, what thoughts are you having related to this thing that you're tapping on, and what are you feeling? What emotions are connected here? Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and sort of intuitively tap on this. I'm not, this belief, I'm not good enough, or I'm not enough. They're usually tied together. And we'll just tap through it. Okay, so beginning on the karate chop spot. Even though I have this belief that I'm not good enough, I deeply and completely accept myself and my feelings. Even though I feel like I've had this belief my whole life, I'm not good enough, or I'm never quite enough, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I'm so tired of living with this belief that I'm not enough or that I'm not good enough, but I'm not sure how to get rid of it. I'm not sure I can, because it's been with me for so long, and I deeply and completely accept myself and my feelings. Not good enough, not good enough, not good enough. This old familiar feeling, I've had it for so long as I can remember, really. All the way back into my childhood. Somehow, I never felt quite good enough, quite smart enough, quite funny enough, quite nice enough, quite cooperative enough, quite pretty enough, quite thin enough, quite funny enough, quite talented enough, There are so many variations on not enough. And I feel like at some point or another, I felt all of them, or a lot of them. And as I'm tapping on this not enough or not good enough, I'm noticing some other thoughts coming up. If I'm not good enough, perhaps it means I'm not lovable. Perhaps it means I'm not worthy. Perhaps it means I'm not deserving. There's so many variations on this theme, and I've circled round and round about them my whole life. I've always struggled with self-confidence, with self-esteem, with feeling good enough about myself, as far back as I can remember. And it makes me sad to think that I've gone through all of these years, all of my life, feeling like I wasn't good enough, like I wasn't enough. Just me being me. Somehow I wasn't enough. Smart enough, funny enough, thin enough, beautiful enough, cooperative enough, creative enough. So many ways that I haven't been enough. It makes me sad, and it makes me angry. Where did that come from? This belief that I'm not enough, or I'm not good enough. I know I didn't come up with it on my own. I had to get it from somewhere. And it makes me sad to think about the fact that I must have gotten it from the people who should have been giving me the message that I was enough, that I was lovable enough, that I was beautiful enough, that I was smart enough, that I was capable enough, that I was worthy enough, that I was deserving enough. I should have gotten that message loud and clear as a child. But the truth is that I didn't, for lots of different reasons. Perhaps there were a lot of us in the household, and I didn't get the individual attention that I would have wanted. Perhaps someone in my home had an illness, a mental illness, a physical illness, a psychological illness, and so much of the energy went to that person's needs. Perhaps it was a parent who wasn't emotionally available or physically available. And so because of that, as a child, I interpreted that to mean there must have been something wrong with me. Because if I was lovable, if I was deserving, if I was a good enough kid, then I would have gotten the attention and the recognition and the acceptance and the love that every child should get. But I didn't. I didn't get what I needed. And I don't want to sit here and feel sorry for myself. And I don't want to blame my parents or whoever raised me. Because as an adult, I can recognize that they had their own issues and their own pressures and their own struggles and their own challenges. And even though it wasn't enough, they were doing the best they could. But as a child, I had no way of knowing that. I was egotistical, like children are. They think the world revolves around them, that everything must come back to them. So if my parents weren't able to love me and nurture me and care for me and support me physically, mentally, and emotionally, in my child's mind, I developed a belief that it must be my fault. I wasn't good enough. I wasn't enough. And no matter what I did, no matter how hard I tried, I could never be enough. And I tried. I tried so hard to be the good girl, to be the good student, to be the good daughter or son, to be the good employee, to be the good partner, to be the good parent, to be the good whatever, volunteer, community member. But no matter how much I tried, from the time that I was very little, I never could get it right. I could never do enough. I could never be good enough or perfect enough. I could never figure it out. I could never anticipate the needs of the people around me so that I could do whatever it took to make them happy, to satisfy their needs, for me to be a good girl or a good boy, a good daughter or a good son, a good sister or a good brother, to be the best student with the best report card and the best marks for trying hard and doing my best. No matter what I did, it wasn't enough. I wasn't enough. And I tried so hard. And I know even now, I hold myself to this standard of perfection. It's like I've internalized that voice, that parental voice, and I tell myself over and over and over again, I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. I need to do more. I need to figure it out. I can't stop trying. I can't let people down. Or they'll think I'm not good enough. That same old pattern from my childhood, repeating itself over and over and over for all of these years. I'm so tired of it. I want to let it go, but I'm not sure how. I'm open to ideas, to begin to believe that perhaps I am enough. I am good enough. I can let go of perfect, because actually there is no perfect. That I can be perfectly imperfect, just the way I am. And that will be enough. And that will be good enough. Because the truth is, I came into this life perfect, just as God created me, with all of myself, my own unique skills and talents, things that I was naturally really good at, things that I was passionate about. Perhaps they weren't the things that other people wanted me to be good at or passionate about. And I got the message along the way that I wasn't good enough or I wasn't enough. But the truth is, if I believe that I'm a child of God or the cosmos or the universe, whatever word you want to use for that creative force, that source of energy, that source of everything created, including myself, then I must be enough, just the way I am. I must be good enough, smart enough, funny enough, talented enough, creative enough, just as I am. And so from this point on, I'm going to accept that as my new truth. That I came into this life perfect. The perfect energy to live the life that I was given. Not the life other people wanted for me or expected of me, but the life that I came here to live. And when I can let go of the need to be perfect, to live up to someone else's standards of enough or good enough, then I can free myself to be whomever and whatever it is that I came here to be. Perfection not required. Only that I give my full self, lovingly, intentionally, to being the best me that I can be, knowing that whatever it is, it's enough. And whatever that is, I'm enough, just the way I am, right here and right now. So we'll come back to this karate chop spot. Just tapping momentarily to allow the energy to settle. And then when you're ready, just sitting with that energy, taking a moment to do a brief inventory, noticing whether there's been any shift physically, mentally, or emotionally. Perhaps making note of that where you jotted down your notes at the beginning. And then if you feel inclined to go ahead and do another round of tapping on your own, using the new information, new words that may have come up for you, specific examples of when you didn't feel good enough or things that made you feel not good enough. So really go ahead and personalize this, just using my script sort of as a model, and then doing whatever feels most personal and most specific to you and your situation. Again, take your time with this, be gentle with yourself around this, and certainly if I can be any help or support you in any way, please feel free to be in touch. Take care now, and namaste.